right, we are officially live. Hi, everybody. It's really nice to see you. Thank you for coming to our session. The session you are attending today, this is the perfect pitch, how top podcasters convert listeners into paying subscribers. And we figured we were going to do something a little bit different today for all of you. Instead of sort of being up here and being the talking heads and talking about everything and giving you just sort of a 30-minute spiel, the idea is for this to be a little bit more like what we're calling like America's Got Talent of podcast pitching or podcast subscription pitching. So we are up here sort of as your experts today to talk you through some of the nuances of pitching a subscription, and we'll go sort of into some more of the details about it. But the idea is for it to be fun, interactive. You guys will hear some pitches live from different partners that work with supporting cast and other subscription platforms, and then we will sort of be providing feedback to those pitches about what they did well and what they didn't do well, things along those lines. And hopefully you guys get some interesting information about it. We'll be taking questions at the end as well too, so if there's different thoughts and things along those lines, please let us know throughout it. But anyways, we're your host today. I'm Eric Barnett, the Vice President of Revenue for Supporting Cast. And for what it's worth, do a little icebreaker. My personal favorite podcast is The Adventure Zone because I'm a big Dungeons & Dragons nerd, and I like to have a lot of fun. So that's really about it, and excited to dive more into this here. But Laura, please go ahead.
Thanks, Eric. Hi, my name is Laura Goldfarb. I have been in podcasting for about 20 years now, first as a podcast host and producer for one of the original networks, BTR Today or Breakthrough Radio. May it rest in peace. And for the last 5 years, I was at Patreon leading the top creator management team, supporting some of the platform's largest podcasters like Joe Budden, Chapo Trap House, Tim Dillon, you name it.
My name is Clay Bolton. I am the new partner manager at Supporting Cast, and I come from a background of public radio. And so now in this moment of cutting funds for public media across the board, subscriptions and how to generate other revenue for public media and independent producers is very important to me. And I will say that my favorite podcast is going to be in the deck, but Comedy Bang Bang, the classic comedy podcast out of LA, is one that I've been with since 2009, I think, when they started. So
yes. So yeah, been in audio for 10 years on my end here, so I realize I didn't talk about my actual experience, but a lot of experience here for you guys to hopefully get from that. So to set just a quick table stakes and things like that, just quickly about Supporting Cast so everyone knows. For what it's worth, not a household name, and that is entirely by design. So Supporting Cast is the largest independent podcast subscription platform, and we're known for being the white label subscription. So it started from Slate and Slate Plus to help power their subscription, and since then we've grown to be the largest independent subscription platform, working with over half the top podcasters in the world, and completely on the back end, completely white labeled. So that's why when you hear them talking about going to plus.npr.org, that is a Supporting Cast landing page, and that is fully by design. So us sitting in the background, empowering you guys as creators to be able to sell your subscription as quickly and as easily as possible. So wanted to set some table stakes here just to sort of have a general idea of subscription. So I'm not sure how many people here have shows or are thinking about running a subscription, but it's good to have a general idea of some of the conversion rates that you can expect if you are looking to start a subscription for your show or network. These right here, what you're looking at, are aggregate conversion rates across Supporting Cast partners based upon what they offer as part of their subscription. So most people, when they think subscription, sort of the table stakes for that is ad-free. But what we have found that ad-free by itself is generally not a major driver of subscription. You'll see some lower conversion rates if that is the only thing that you're offering as part of your subscription. Now, when you get up higher into the access there, like earlier, archive access or bonus content is what we typically recommend, is when you'll see start more meaningful conversion rates from the subscriptions that you'll be providing to your subscribers. And a lot of that really is about finding what works for you and works for your show. Like no two subscriptions are the same, and it's about having that relationship with your audience and being able to sort of harness that parasocial relationship, but in a positive way, to be able to use that to provide additional revenue and help fund your show or your network. And what I think we're going to be talking about today really is looking at like the delta when you're looking at anywhere from 1.5 to 6% for bonus content, or 2 to 8%, or even higher. We have people that go to 25, 35%. The delta between those ultimately comes down to how well you are telling your story for your subscription and what your pitch is, and also what is offered as part of your subscription. And so we're going to be going through these today to show you some of the top subscriptions in the world and how they are pitching their subscription. We have some good examples, some bad examples, and hopefully this will be fun and entertaining for you. And you guys have anything else you want to add to that?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right, cool. Let's hop into it. Oh, so talking about the perfect pitch. Laura, do you want to chat a little bit about this? I feel like you've had some really good experience.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about the perfect pitch, I mean, when I was at Patreon, a big thing that we would talk about is this idea of sort of this the spectrum. And on one end, you've got audience members who are really all about altruism. They want to support you regardless of what you're doing. They're going to be tossing money at you. They want to be, or they are your biggest fan. And then on the other end of the spectrum is really that subscription driven, the benefits, the what's in it for me. So being able to answer that question, depending on where you are in your career, the further up that you get, being in that top podcaster side, you might be leaning a little bit away from that altruistic side and more towards the benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the perfect pitch is that you need to continue your perfect pitch because you're going to have your established audience, that is your free listenership, and you're also going to need to be converting people who are sitting on the fence for a while. So right when you launch your subscription, you might have a big surge of your most diehard fans, but you're going to have some people that are unsure. Maybe it's not worth $5 a month. And so you're going to need to be consistent in your pitching, and you're going to need to be enhancing and expanding and telling them what is new at the subscription. So a new show, a new bonus feature, something like that. But you need to be beating the drum each week, each episode on the fact that the subscription is there, trying to bring more people from your free audience to become paid subscribers.
Yep. And like we're saying here on the perfect pitch, really when it comes down to about telling your story, it's about giving people a why they subscribe, like telling them why it's important to support the show, be very clear about what the benefits are that they're going to receive, that value proposition. Depending on where you are in your relationship, if you're more of an independent podcaster, you might want to lead with the why, because that pulling on the heartstrings and understanding to support really lends itself well to that pitch. But if you are a company, say like a SiriusXM or someone like a big partner that we work with, the what becomes more important because it is more transactional in nature. And then ultimately, you really want to hit that how very clearly. Where do you sign up? How do you do it? And do that multiple times. And if you do that, you'll have a very good pitch and be able to do a subscription. Yep. But all right, so these are sort of the metrics we're looking at. Let's see how well these stack up. So this is example 1, Second Captains. This came at minute 33 in their podcast.
It was really late in the day. Very entertaining interview with Sol Campbell. That's about half of it there. To hear the other half, you can sign up to the World Service now, secondcaptains.com, €5 a month plus VAT, and you can hear all of our Rory coverage from the last few days. Second Captains podcast is part of the Acast Creator Network. If you become a member, you won't hear any ads, and you'll also be supporting independent, member-led broadcasts.
So Second Captains is out of Dublin, Ireland, and they are a group of 4 independent journalists who started their podcast about 10 years ago. And when you think back to what drives conversions, they are in the majority paywall. And so they offer one show for free on Monday, and then the remaining shows throughout the week, daily, are behind the paywall for their World Service members. And what you just heard is the call to action at the end of their Thursday episode, where they collect a bunch of the best bits from behind the paywall and share it with people and say, this is what you missed on Second Captains this week. And this episode was from the week that Rory McIlroy won the Masters, and so all of Ireland was very excited about this. So it was a perfect example of you didn't just want to hear the Monday reaction, you wanted to hear the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And so they were saying, this is a great week to join. You know, they're also talking about hurling and other Irish sports. They're also talking about European soccer. So there's always something that you're going to miss if you're just listening to that Monday free show. And that's what they try to remind everybody with the sampler on Thursday and the call to action at the end.
Yeah.
I like on that one too, though, they also added in that altruism piece of, support us as independent podcasters. And so that to me really speaks to where they are also in their journey, but really kind of touching that full spectrum.
Yeah, they do a really good job of like going into that altruism. It's also interesting because you can see them sort of fading out as well too. So when you have like a bonus segment or you're trying to give someone a teaser, like play a little bit of it and then you sort of fade out and then begin the pitch. And that is in a very effective way to sort of be able to talk about that content that Clay was alluding to that's available to people. And it's interesting on this one, if I had to provide like some criticism for it, obviously we're giving them a lot of sort of, praise for what they're doing, and they're very good at doing their subscription, but this one in particular, I'll say, maybe lacked a little bit of enthusiasm or things like that, so it was felt, when you do it for a long time, sometimes you can get to the point where you feel like you're mailing in your pitch, and that's something you always sort of want to stay away from. Being able to always have that enthusiasm and that excitement about your subscription is something that's important. And I think, occasionally you can lose that. And if that's the case, always just sort of recenter on your next podcast, because it is about consistency, but just something to sort of consider. I don't know if you guys have any additional thoughts or criticisms for it as well.
Sometimes they do play it a little too cool, and there is no cool way to play your call to action, because it is actually the main thing that is going to drive people signing up to your subscription offering. And so Owen at the end there was kind of fading out. We're part of the ACAST Network ad-free support. And it's like, no. You got to stay with it towards the end, because this person has listened to minute 33 of the best of the week. So This is a person who is really on the edge of going, I can't believe what I missed out on. I really need to sign up. So if he had even driven it home harder, that would have been a great close to somebody who had spent that much time with them that week.
Yep. So, Laura, on you. Out of 5 footballs, 1 to 5 footballs, what's the rating on this pitch?
Ooh, 4, 3.5, 4.
3.5? Wow. Okay. Clay, where are you at?
Out of 5. I think that with the sharing of paywalled content and kind of the thinking that this is a person who's been listening for a while and is sitting on the fence, I think it's about a 4.5, because the tone of the show is there, and that's important too, is hitting the tone of the show.
I don't know. I saw, for what it's worth, good subscription. I'm probably going to go with a 3 for this specific pitch, just because they got the points across, but to me it felt like they mailed it in a little too much. That's not discounting their subscription. That's this particular pitch in general. So, all right, let's move on to the next one. So, different example here. This is from Don't Call Me White Girl, Video First Podcaster, and here is her. This is at minute 0.
Aren't you tired of watching censored episodes? Don't you miss the days when I was cursing like a seller every week? It's simple fix, cousins. Head over to moremona.com and support your girl. We have a community chat group. I'm giving you 2 bonus episodes a month, and nothing is censored. It all goes down at moremona.com, and it's ad-free. Subscribe today. It's just $6 a month, or $49.99 for the year, if you want to save a coin or two. See you soon, cousins.
Cool. So for what's worth, I love Mona. She's a wonderful human. And to give you guys some background about sort of her subscription and where she comes with, she has a very close relationship with her audience. You hear her calling them cousins and things like that. There's actually a name that she calls them, and everyone's part of the cousin community when they subscribe. In her case, the main driver for her subscription ended up being that she kept getting demonetized on YouTube from swearing too much. So she started censoring her free YouTube videos and saying if you wanted the uncensored version, you had to support the show. And in her case, what I think she does really, really well, particularly in this pitch, is laying out very clearly, if you subscribe, you are going to get X, Y, and Z. So if you love this show, you're going to get 2 more bonus episodes. Everything's going to be completely uncensored. You get access to the Discord group, and she very clearly and prescriptively lays it out. And I think she probably does that some of the best in the business in terms of that, and is very successful with her subscription. But would love to know what are your guys' thoughts on Mona here?
I think just using video to promote your subscription is key. As Eric said, it clarifies the call to action, what the benefits are going to be, and you can tell that she is completely comfortable in the call to action. And so the cuz thing is very good, and so I think that she really does a great job of keeping the tone of the show while clearly highlighting the benefits.
I do have a little bit of a qualm with her saying that it's $6 a month and it's $6.99. So I just want to know if there's a discount code.
Yeah, it's funny too. I don't know if we could see it on the monitor up here, but there was actually the producer, when she said $6, he said actually $6.99 on top of it. So they caught it when she messed it up. So yeah, definitely gets a point knocked off for that for sure.
And she's got a good amount of value for $6.99 a month.
Yes.
So that also does it for me, and but yeah, I give this one a 4.
A 4?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I like that. Clay, where are you on this one?
Yeah, I think I'm a 4 for Mona. She's got her own style, and I really like it.
Yeah, I would also give her a 4. Where I would provide some additional sort of feedback from Mona would be, the $6 thing, yeah, for sure, that's a slip up. But she didn't go so much into the why. I think, she's still, although she's part of Breakbeat, which is a larger network, there still is a little bit of a why about why it's important to support a show, regardless if it's independent or on a network. So that's something that you could have gone into a little bit more. But, calling people cousins is a really great way to sort of overcome that. And then, she had the call to action very clear, so I thought that was great, very clear where to go and how to do that, so I'd give her a 4 as well. All right, let's keep rolling here. Example 3. So this one is for all you narrative podcasters out there. This is Blowback.
This season, as ever, we have a fantastic set of guests that you're going to hear from. We had the honor of speaking with Afghan politician and social activist Malalai Joya, with Pakistani journalist Ahmed Rashid, and the inimitable muckraker Cy Hirsch.
We'll take you from the ancient empires to the Cold War standoff to 9/11 and beyond in what is our most exciting season yet. So, if you want to come with and subject yourself to this maddening web of intrigue, head over to blowback.show and hit the big button that says subscribe. You'll also get 10 bonus episodes, full interviews with our guests, a talk about Hollywood's 1980s Afghanistan B movies, and a very special look at Soldier of Fortune magazine.
You'll also get extra cuts of music from the soundtrack, full release of which will come out September 25th. And yes, we are finally putting out merch. And as a subscriber, you'll get discount codes for upcoming t-shirts, hats, and posters.
So, get to it, folks. Head to blowback.show and hit the big button that says subscribe.
And we'll see you on the other side.
Big in a world energy. Good movie
Yes.
trailer.
Yes, yes. So what are your thoughts on that one, Laura? I'd love to.
I mean, they commit to the bit,
Yes.
right? I mean, and I love that about them. And it's strong. And I will say, just thinking about the first two as well, I'm also looking for a little bit of what my colleagues and I say, show, don't tell. So it's a lot of telling, but still great, right? We get a really strong understanding of what it is that the value in the subscription. But I'm also kind of like, I want a little bit more, especially from
What do you mean
them.
by show don't tell in this case then?
Like, play a little clip of that interview. Play a little snippet of the music that they're talking about. Give us a little bit of a sneak peek, not just tell us that it's coming.
Got it. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
But what about you?
I think that, Blowback does an annual subscription, and so you get the entire season when you sign up. And so this is a really good explanation of what is to come throughout the multi-episode subscription that you're signing up for. And I think that, each show has their own tone. We've heard 3 different samples, and you can tell that they know their audience, and they know that it's kind of cheeky. It's kind of join us on this misadventure kind of thing. So it's
Hit the big red button.
hit the big red button. It's very much
Come
welcoming you
along
into
on a
the journey.
ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to give sort of some additional context about Blowback as well too. So they are an immensely successful subscription, converting roughly 25% of their listening audience into paying subscribers every single season. And in their case, because they are a seasonal show, they come out in the fall of every single year. They do annual subscriptions only. So there's no monthly option. It's only an annual option for people to come and support the show. So they're always sort of re-upping for that new season every single year. And what you're hearing here is their pitch to join that season pass, quote unquote, or get their their annual subscription within the first show. So they're really laying it on thick here, but I think it works so well for them because they're all about storytelling and trying to provide like a lot of excitement about different types of wars that have happened throughout history. And so I think they do a great job about talking about the what, although I would love to see more show, don't tell. They really talk about why we're starting supporting independent journalism and how to do that, and then also really laying into like how you go and subscribe. Go to blowback.show and hit that red button. They hit that several times throughout the pitch, and they really try to talk about that value transaction. So, I personally love this pitch, and they do it, and they are successful for a very reason. So, I don't know. Personally, if I was given this like number of blowbacks, I'd give this 5 blowbacks, out of 5. Personal
Okay.
taste here. Yeah, where are you guys at on this one?
I'm going 4.4.
4.4. Okay.
That's very cutting it fine there. I was going to say 4.5 because I think that just having some tape in there, a little bit more music, but it's really great on just how well produced this call to action is because it shows the quality of the show and, like you said, their commitment to the bit that they are you're in good hands with these hosts when you sign up for their subscription.
Yeah, there's seasoned veterans at it, and the music in the background that could be argued as a clip.
That's
right?
fair. That's very fair.
It's good music. They have great
Maybe
music.
it's 4.5. Okay.
just during the season. So they do 10, sorry, I apologize. I can repeat back the question, but the question was, do they do other stuff throughout the year? So they will occasionally drop other stuff out of the season, but they're primarily promoting 10 bonus episodes in addition to all the ones that are free throughout the season. So it is almost like doubling the amount of content that you'd receive. So they're really leaning into it heavy. And for a narrative show, you know, advertising can sometimes be a challenge when you're only on seasonally. So having a strong subscription is really in your best interest.
And that's just about clearly communicating how many bonus episodes you're going to get. And so your subscribers will be okay with whatever the cadence is, as long as it's a clear cadence and release schedule.
Yep, exactly right. So let's lean into this one. So this example right here is from Alex Goldman with Hyperfixed, formerly of Reply All. This is his new show. And what you're hearing here, this is a relatively new show, more independent in nature, although part of Radiotopia. And he's talking about why it's important to support a show, especially one that is starting up. So bear with us. This is a little bit of a longer pitch, but we think it's sort of important to hear the whole thing because it's a very interesting story.
Hey everyone, this is Alex. Big things are happening at Hyperfixed right now. We're working on our first multi-part story, which, you know, again, much respect to Sari Safar-Sukenic and Emma Cortland for being the real engine behind this one. It's so exciting to be making this because it feels just big and ambitious and like we're finding our feet and we're stretching ourselves. But also making a 3-part series like this is a big, expensive undertaking for this show. Unlike most of our episodes, there are some sensitivities in this story, which you will learn a lot more about in this episode, which require just an undertaking of extra careful fact-checking and a legal review, which is not something that we usually do, and you know, that kind of thing adds up.
He loves transparency.
If you are a regular listener to this show, you know that I talk fairly regularly about how much money we make, the cost of actually making the show, and like what it's like making this show truly independently. If you're not familiar with any of this, I've made a couple blog posts, I'll link in the show notes, about the amount of money we make and spend each month, about our goals for listenership and revenue, and, you know, the stumbling blocks to get there. And if you like what we're doing, especially after this episode, which I'm very excited about, I am hoping you would consider becoming a premium member of Hyperfixed. It's $8 a month or $60 a year, and with that you get 2 bonus episodes a month, bonus materials for certain episodes, access to our Discord, which I will continue to push forever because I think that it is a wonderful community. In a couple months, you will get access to exclusive merch and much more. But I would say, independent of all the benefits, your subscription will enable us to tackle bigger stories, take bigger risks, bring in some great freelancers, and most importantly, your support will help make this show continue to be possible. Like, literally. We're not shutting down or anything, but I'm being very honest when I say that Hyperfixed currently exists like on the very event horizon of viability. Things are pretty hand-to-mouth, and the more listeners that become members, the more likely we are to both just be secure for the future and to be able to make stories like this one. Or not like this one, like bigger or weirder, more out there stories, format breaking stories, radio dramas. Who knows what we're capable of? We've just started. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you are able to become a premium member, it will go a long way to keeping the show going for the long term. And I believe very strongly in this show.
Isn't it?
I believe in our team. I believe in our potential to make great things that we haven't even dreamed of yet. And I guess I'm just asking you to believe in us too. You can support us by going to hyperfixedpod.com/join. That's hyperfixedpod.com/join. This will also be in the show notes. And even if you can't afford to support it or you don't feel ready to, that is fine. If you like the show enough to share it with friends, that makes a huge, huge difference. And no matter how you support it, listening to the ads, paying for premium, just downloading it and not even listening to it at all, in which case I don't know how you would hear this, but either way, we really, really appreciate it. So thank you so much for listening. Here is the show.
All right. Thank you for coming on that journey with us, Matt. I know it was a long one, but I think it's important. Huh? Yeah, it's a lot. Clay, why don't you break it down first, man? What are your
Yeah, I think that, Alex does like to hang and talk, and he is, kind of welcomes you into his world, but it is, to your point, kind of slightly long-winded at sometimes, but wants to give the whole picture, and that is really in keeping with his shows and with Hyperfixed, is kind of like deep dives into subjects. And so I think that's one reason that he does let himself go a little bit longer on the pitch. And he comes from public radio, and so this is very public radio in the pledge drive moment of, if you want this to exist, we're calling on listeners like you, viewers like you. And I think that in this moment of funding cuts and, just difficulty in the space, that, it is important to support the things that you love. And so for him to go right to that and just share his ambitions for doing new and interesting and expanded content is really, a strong, compelling call to action for listeners who have been with him through his various shows.
Yeah. What about you, Laura?
I mean, he pulled at my heartstrings.
Yeah.
So he gets
Yeah,
points
you
for
were-
that. And I really like that he, really addressed that full spectrum of the altruism, the support, and then also benefits. He clearly laid those out. But I gotta say, just too much.
A little
too much. He lost
yes.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. There is some nuance to it for sure. Like he's he's known for sort of going into high transparency. Like that's literally the point of his show, is going into extreme detail and hyper fixing someone's problem. And like he's almost doing it to himself a little too much here in this case. But I will give him credit. Like he does a great job with his subscription. He knows his audience very well. And in his case, that why and that transparency about spending more time with him, like people often will support a show because they want to spend more time with the host. They want to spend more time with you, the creator, and they're willing to help support you to get that sort of interaction. And it's a way of taking, like, I know parasocial has like a negative connotation to it, but it's being able to provide that type of experience for your listeners in a way that you can control it. And he does that, I think, very well. But I agree that this particular pitch lost a little bit of steam here because of the length of it. So anyways, we're running a little short on time. So how many hyperfix do you give this one?
4 hyperfixes.
4 hyperfixes.
3.8.
3.8. I will also give it 4. But want to leave a few minutes for questions here. So if there's any questions that you guys have about subscriptions, please let us know.
What is the nexus between subscription generation and chat communities, and what are some best practices for how to make the one support the other?
When you say nexus, you're saying like how do they support each other? Is that sort of the idea? Sure. Yeah, so it depends on what you feel comfortable with. So community benefits, if you know your audience and that's something that they're asking for, can be sort of in the realm of like a bonus content almost, right? Where people feel like they are getting something more and being a part of something special, being able to subscribe. The question has to be of like, that is usually a bigger commitment on the part of the host or the production team, so you just have to understand like what your sort of appetite is for that. If you want something that's more real time, do a Discord integration. We also have like a user forum, which is like a private Reddit if you want it to be more of like a question and answer and sort of like a comment and feedback system. But it can be a benefit. It can be a really strong offering. You just need to make sure to be prepared to sort of manage that and at least encourage people to be a part of the community as well, like Alex does in this case.
You can also use that as sort of that show don't tell piece, whereas if you have a chat, like let's say you're using Discord and you've got a channel that is open to the public, but then they can also see one that's just for subscribers, then you're letting them know, oh, I could get access to this if I then joined.
Yep, for sure. So
And Discord is good on the production team because the community can kind of run in the background without the host or producers getting involved there. And oftentimes people want to talk about the show, but they also just want to meet people who share their interest and then talk about movies and talk about music and other things. So it's a great place to offer people who share this common interest of your podcast to talk about whatever they would like with other listeners.
Yep.
I think a way that we can surmise all of this is that the formula, I think that would have been helpful, just having the formula for putting your pitch together.
Mm-hmm.
One is be enthusiastic.
Yeah, that's fair.
So be enthusiastic.
Yep.
Number 2 is know your audience, because if you know your audience, you can be able to give them the cadence that they really prefer, that they would sign up for.
Yep.
Number 3, some show and tell. We like visuals. So yes, we do audio, but love to have a visual in that. And number 3, have a good CTA,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
so that people can engage right away.
Shoot, we need
So
you up here as the
I
4th
think
host. You
that-
nailed that. That's great.
So I just think that having a formula at the end would be helpful for all of us, because I really struggled through all of those to cherry pick the formula, what would be best, you know, to walk away.
Okay, that's fair.
But
That's
thank
fair.
you.
Yeah, of course, of course. So I guess we're at time here. So I'll say thank you for everything. We really appreciate you coming out. I see a couple more questions. Feel free to grab us here after the show. We'll talk through all of that. But thank you, everyone, very much for coming to The Perfect Pitch. Really appreciate it.
Hit the subscribe button.